WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
The Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, once the center of hostility and the butt of jokes, is tonight the center of attention in the Twin Cities. More than 50,000 people soon will be witness to the Minnesota Twins' official inaugural of the Dome. Good evening, everyone. The official opening of the Metrodome will understandably occupy much of this special edition of the 6 p.m. report. We shall also report, among other things, on a massive borrowing program to help the state of Minnesota pay its bills. The budget axe has fallen in the Anoka-Hennepin School District, where more than 150 teachers will lose their jobs. And Mike Fairborn will offer the grim details of another, in quotes, blast of winter weather heading our way. All of those stories coming up now in the 6 p.m. report.
But as you just mentioned, Dave, we will also have a number of reports on the official opening of the Dome Stadium. And joining us tonight are our own Ralph John Fritz, also Steve Doyle and Marlo Bendow from PM Magazine to give us a report from the stadium. What's it like in there?
Well, Pat, I think Dave was right at the head of the show when he said there's so many openers it's hard to keep track, but this is it. This is the night they officially christened the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, and it's nice to be with you. The fans are starting to file in. They expect, I guess, about 56,000, and Ralph and Marlo and I will be with you for the next hour, bringing you stories surrounding the festivities tonight.
As we're all well aware, the Dome has been subject of debate and lots of controversy. We're going to bring you some interviews with people who have opposed it most strongly. We're also going to take a look at how this marvelous structure was designed and made. But that's not what we're here for tonight, right, Ralph?
Right, we are here to see baseball, Marlo, and of course, photographer Al Crocker and I spent a good deal of time with the Minnesota Twins in spring training down at Orlando, Florida. We'll have more on that a bit later on, as well as Ahmad Rashad will be joining us, and he'll be telling us about that super turf that they have laid here at the Metrodome.
And I'll be meeting once again a man that we spent some time with last year on this historic occasion, one of the prime movers tonight, the patriarch of the Minnesota Twins, Calvin Griffith. So we've got a lot to do. We might as well let you folks at the studio get back with it.
All right, we're looking forward to it. Thank you all very much. Well, ever since work on that dome began, there have been gloomy predictions about opening night traffic problems in downtown Minneapolis. Well, this is the night, so we have devised an experiment to see just how badly the traffic really turns out to be. Our guinea pig is Alan Cox, who is live now at the Old Met Stadium in Bloomington. Alan?
Well, you know, Pat, the smell of charcoal briquettes is wafting through the parking lot here, as it has on many opening days in Minnesota, but it's just a rump tailgate party. It's just a few diehard Save the Met fans who say they're going to be watching and listening to the game from a distance. The officials of the city of Minneapolis and the Dome Commission say that there should be no problem, even once people get past the opening night jitters, even on a sellout game. In reaching downtown, they say the traffic is just a fraction of what it is during rush hour every day in downtown Minneapolis. Of course, some of the people who support Old Metropolitan Stadium say that someone trying to get to the Twins game that's a sellout, as the one is tonight, if they don't start early enough, they could make it in time for the Vikings opener this fall. So we'll be doing our own little investigative reporting here. Photographer Dave Cheney and I will be heading downtown, and with any luck, we should be able to join the folks at the Dome by 7 o'clock. So we'll check you later, Pat.
We're going to be monitoring Alan's progress through the traffic from our Live Eye helicopter. Alan will be reporting his position by radio to our crew in the chopper, and then we will see how he is doing and if he makes it, in fact, to the baseball game tonight.
Right now, at this moment, we're going to get the jump on Alan. We're going to, with the helicopter, our Live Eye in the Sky, which is over downtown Minneapolis. Bill Carlson is aboard on a report to tell us how traffic is moving, if indeed it is. Well, it certainly is moving, isn't it? I don't see any jams anywhere, Bill.
You're right, Dave. It's moving beautifully. Pilot John Marcus and photographer Dave Bowden and I have been looking for any indication of a traffic jam, and at least for this night, planning obviously is working out just perfectly because everything is orderly, no indications of any snarls anywhere. Now they could develop, I suppose, in the next hour or so, but we'll be keeping an eye on it. We'll get back to you, and we'll also be following Alan just a little while.
I hope you're able to pick him out there. Good luck. We'll join you a bit later, Bill. Thank you. We shall return to matters of the Dome a bit later in the program, at which time Jim Newman will take us back for a look at the controversy that has surrounded this stadium from its inception, and as Marlo Bendow mentioned, she will show us some of the Dome's special construction features. Elsewise, in tonight's news, an attempt by the state of Minnesota to borrow $850 million.
Well, that money would be used to solve cash flow problems expected during the next 30 13 months. Karen Boros reports.
Officials decided to split the short-term borrowing into two chunks, $400 million on May 4, $450 million on July 1, which moves the repayment dates to June of '83, when the state is likely to be in a position to pay.
Also, to do $850 million at one time, you'll note from the funds flow statement, this would require maturity at the end of May 1983. And in the funds flow statement, it's apparent that we will not have the total funds to repay these notes.
The first bills to be paid would be $222 million in school aid withheld in December and January, $360 million borrowed last year, and the interest on that loan. The second loan would cover a wide variety of state payments and could be enough to avoid any further budget balancing sessions between now and the end of the budget, June of '83.
We're seeing that if there is another shortfall, the budget would have to be rebalanced, and you would have an entirely different cash flow situation. And it's likely that $800 million would take care of it, because you would only have 7 months left of the fiscal year to achieve a balanced budget.
Officials expect the state to pay interest of 9.5% on the $850 million. That, along with interest on previous borrowing during the current budget, brings total interest payments to $112 million. To put that number into perspective, it is roughly equal to the combined spending cuts and tax increases included in the last budget balancing bill. Karen Boros, WCCO Television News at the state capitol.
170 employees of the Anoka-Hennepin School District are losing their jobs as the result of budget cuts made by that school board last night. The 157 teachers and 13 administrative workers, staff workers, will be laid off by the end of the 1982-83 school year. Pat?
In St. Paul, school officials say they too will have to cut teachers and programs as a result of an $8 million budget cut. Superintendent Dr. George Young says he is recommending that the district cut 300 teachers, administrators, and clerks from the payroll.
We're telling the public, we're telling the staff that we will be a great deal leaner this coming school year, and that the adults in the system at all levels and in all areas will have to work even harder than they are working now, and they're working very hard now. But if we are to continue quality programs, basic educational academic programs for our students, and we plan to do that, it will take even more effort than has been true.
Young says there won't be many cuts in school programs and that the board will take final action sometime in June.
At Ward's Spring Sale, young girls get 2 outfits in 1 for under $12. These perky sundresses look great on their own, or pair them up with jackets for a dressier mood. Gingham and prints are now $11.97. You save $5. And save on Mrs. sundresses in 100% cotton. Built-in bra and elasticized back ensure a smooth fit. These easy care styles are $15.97. You save $6. Come to the spring sale happening now at Ward's.
Fine food, flawlessly prepared, brings people together and sets restaurants apart. The Rosewood Room.
Easter Buffet, adults $12.50, children $6.50. Call for reservations.
As you know, the road, the rocky road, which led to tonight's official opening of the Metrodome was indeed a long and a very difficult one. Jim Newman now takes us back down that rough road to an eventful night of 3.5 years ago.
December 1, 1978. Here at the Metropolitan Sports Facilities Commission, the final decision was finally made. The commissioners voted 4-3 to build the dome. The big loser back then was Bloomington. The commissioners' vote for the dome spelled certain doom for the Met. Bloomington would no longer play host to the big leagues. The city's mayor felt badly.
I'm disappointed, certainly.
Jim Lindau is still mayor of Bloomington, but he no longer sees the pro-dome vote as a disappointing defeat for Bloomington, but rather a blessing in disguise. Getting rid of the Met freed 100 acres for development.
having watched the property sell for something over $25 million and listening to the developers talk about the potential value of the development there, we'd have to say that our disappointment has been tempered by the prospect of significant development.
In December of 1978, the dome was still only a concept, of course, and a controversial one at that. Critics of the project feared cost overruns that would eventually trickle down to the taxpayer. They charged the dome was railroaded through by greedy interests with no respect for the fans. Dome opponents had formed Save the Met. The group's main contention was that fans prefer their sports in the open air on natural turf. Save the Met lobbied, circulated petitions, held demonstrations, and lost out. These days, former Save the Met leaders enjoy successful careers and growing families. They remain cynical about the political process they say served the self-interested rich.
The civic lesson out of it, I think, be very simply stated in sort of money talks, money walks, that, the role of the fan or the taxpayer, was ignored throughout the whole process or not given adequate consideration.
But what dome opponents call self-interest, supporters call civic responsibility. Harvey McKay, a Minneapolis businessman, is a civic leader who fought hard for the dome. He says without the dome, Minnesota would have lost its major league teams, a severe blow to the economy.
We have approximately 35 New York Stock Exchange firms in the state of Minnesota, which are great assets, which produce tens and hundreds of thousands of jobs. If we don't have the Guthrie Theater, if we don't have the Minnesota Orchestra, if we don't have Major League football, baseball, then the probability of people wanting to live in this area and the quality of life does go down.
Critics say the dome's 30-year mortgage is too risky in an uncertain economy. Advocates say the dome will always be self-supporting. The jury is still out. Only time can render the final verdict. Jim Newman, WCCO Television News, reporting.
And we return now to Marlo Bendow, who is live in the Dome for a look at how the stadium is put together. Marlo?
Pat, it's really exciting to be in the Metrodome for the first time. The Dome has a spacious, bright feeling, even though I think the sun has already gone down. But understandably, most of the fans who will be coming here tonight will be coming to see the game, and they won't really be marveling at the structure of the Dome. So earlier this week, photographer John Koskinen and I came down to the Dome when no one was here, and we found out that the design of the Dome is really quite an interesting story. While the nation's newest dome looks like a huge bubble outside, what Twin Cityans will discover is that it seems twice as large inside. And in fact, it is. Enclosed here are 60 million cubic feet of air, or the equivalent space of 3,300 average homes. It can hold slightly more than 62,000 people, who can all view the games unhampered by straining around posts or supporting pillars, because the roof of the dome is held up by air. 20 90-horsepower electric fans suck in air from the outside, building up an air pressure that's 5 pounds per square foot greater than the air pressure outside. And it pushes the roof up, much like a hot air balloon.
It is like a big balloon, the hot air in the winter when we're heating it, of course, and hopefully not hot air in the summer when we want it cool, but it is a big balloon. And that 5 pound per square foot differential pumps up the fiberglass and steel cable roof, which weighs 320 tons, and creates the environment that you see in here.
The dome is set roughly 47 feet into the ground, which will help keep it cool in the summertime, taking advantage of the cool earth temperature. In winter, warm air is pumped between the two panels of the roof, which will melt the snow on top. Now, the roof is made up of 2 fiberglass panels that are separated by 6 feet of air. The inside one is very lightweight and flexible, and it helps to keep sound and temperature inside the dome controlled, while the outside one is much heavier. It looks like something that you might cover your boat with in the wintertime, and it obviously protects against the elements. Now, to give you again some idea of the scale of this roof, if you laid these panels out on the ground, they would cover an area that equals 10 acres. Now, the air pressure holds up not only the panels, but also 320 tons of cables, speakers, and lights. The entire roof is designed to withstand wind velocity of up to tornado-like conditions. As wind conditions change, wind sensors on top of the structure signal the control room to draw more air into the dome through the fans.
Even if the roof were pierced in a windstorm, we have enough fan pressure and capability to keep the roof inflated. If a tornado were to come, we would probably advise people to stay inside the stadium because they'd be safer in here than they would outside, even if the roof deflated.
The management of the Metropolitan Sports Commission is pleased that the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, the 5th building of its size in the world, has been finished under budget and on time, a fact which in itself makes the building as unique as its design. But as the dust settles on the controversy, the mystery, the bubble itself, it will take time before we know what sort of return the investment of time, energy, and money will bring the people and the teams of the Twin Cities. With photographer John Koskinen, this is Marlo Bendow for WCCO Television News.
I love this magazine. It's Woman's World. Every week, Woman's World gives you more of everything. This week, one fashion story shows bright, breezy new looks for spring. Our recipes this week give you a taste of the tropics. There are makeup ideas and exercises you can do anywhere. Sensational new fashion separates in hot new colors, plus much, much more.
Woman's World. Only 75 cents at checkout counters. Get more of everything every week in Woman's World.
Hardworking people have one thing in common. One day they'll retire. And that's why a First Bank IRA is so important to them.
I started an IRA at my first bank because there was no opening fee.
High yield. I get a good return on my investment, and I know it's secure.
Since there's no minimum, I opened my IRA with what I could afford.
Stop in your First Bank to find out more about our IRA, the way hardworking people make retirement worth working for.
Well, for once, Mike, the pressure is off for
nice
the
to have
opener
the dome up. We don't
baseball
really
game.
care. Would have been a nice day for the opener, really.
Today?
Yes.
Oh,
like
no.
freezing temperatures.
Sunshine.
34 degrees?
33, 34 degrees. My guess.
Perfect.
What more could you want? A dome, I know.
degrees.
Well, we do have something coming in that may change your mind, especially if the dome were tomorrow afternoon, or the opening, were tomorrow afternoon instead of today. We do have another winter storm developing back in the Rockies. It's headed our way. For that reason, the National Weather Service has issued a winter storm watch for the southern third of the state of Minnesota. That really takes effect tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon is when we expect to begin to feel the effects of this next storm. And the path, of course, is going to determine how much snow we get, if any, and so we'll just have to watch it. But I guess that's what a watch is for, isn't it? To let you know that we do have something out there and it's headed in our direction. We did reach up above freezing again today. We reached 33 degrees, 15 for an overnight low last night. Sunrise in the morning at 5:46, sunset at 6:47, and at the present time in the Twin Cities we're at 31 degrees with very light winds, northwest 3, humidity 33%, a barometer reading of 3027. The barometer is falling around the 5-state area. Other temperatures, mostly above freezing also today, generally up in the upper 20s and the lower 30s right now. Down over extreme eastern Iowa, only 26 degrees, and that's held down partially because of the snow cover that they still have down there. The snow from the last winter storm, the one that's affecting the New England area today, and of course we've been hearing all kinds of reports about that. The overnight lows from our WeatherNet area dropping down into the single digits up in Sandstone with 9 degrees, Owatonna down to 3 last night. You can definitely see the effects of the heat island here over the cities, with 15 being one of the warmest temperatures around, 17 out in the Hutchinson area. And this is what the lows look like from around the rest of the country. You can see that little area that's extended in from the west that kept us up in the teens as opposed to the single digits that surrounded us. Dropped to 22 below at Tower, Minnesota, again this morning for the nation's low temperature any place across the country. And of course milder temperatures on further to the south. The satellite picture shows the cloud mass associated with the storm that's now moving off to the east. We're also watching clouds increase from the west and approaching us, already moving into the Dakotas now as this storm is beginning to develop. But the real storm development is still back out here in the central Rockies, and it'll move into Kansas and Nebraska tomorrow, bringing moisture northward out of the Gulf, and combining with the cool Canadian air we have over us really does set us up for the possibility of some snow here in the Twin Cities. So we have a huge area of high pressure extending over us right now. That's dividing these two storm systems. systems and producing the sunny conditions today, but back in New England, the storm that moved through us over the weekend is now affecting them with winds out of the north-northwest up to 60 miles an hour, up to 12 inches of snow in many locations, blizzard conditions, and of course causing them the same kind of problems that it caused as it moved right through the southern part of our area. This next low pressure system developing is going to stay fairly well to the south of us. It's really going to depend on how much moisture it taps as to how much snow we will get, and right now it looks like somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 to 3 inches for the Twin Cities. But for tomorrow, the forecast map does indicate that low, though, moving over into the Kansas, Oklahoma area with rain to the south of this dashed line and snow to the north. So we're going to get back into it. Winter's not quite over yet. Our forecast for tonight, we will have increasing clouds after midnight, a low of around 18 degrees tomorrow. We'll be looking at winter storm watch in the afternoon with a chance of snow, as we've said, winds out of the southeast at 10 to 20 and a high temperature of 35 degrees tomorrow. The extended outlook does call for the snow flurries to linger on into Thursday morning, clearing by afternoon, and then a clearing trend on into the weekend with the high temperatures recovering finally up into the mid-40s. So any snow that we do get will be rather short-lived, and we'll get it melted off and get back in the business of spring.
Now that sounds good.
That's better.
Thank you, Mike. We're going to return now to our live eye helicopter because Bill Carlson is up there. He's been updating the situation with Alan Cox, who, as we reported earlier, is on his way to the Dome Stadium. Bill?
Yes, Pat, Alan Cox in that car you may have seen just below us just a moment ago is just heading into the downtown area. Things have been very orderly. He's made it in record time, I would imagine. And the orderliness of all the Metrodome goers tonight apparently has been contagious, because that's the state of traffic all over the Twin City area tonight. As a matter of fact, I would guess that the air traffic here above the Metrodome is perhaps more significant in terms of a traffic jam than the traffic on the ground. There are all kinds of aircraft here taking a first look at opening night, and it's a spectacular one. We'll be checking throughout the evening, Pat.
Well, be careful. We don't want any helicopter crashes up there. All right. When the 6 p.m. report continues, we will return live inside the Dome with Ralph John Fritz and all the sports.
Retirement security. We all want it. The fact is, IRA is Congress's greatest gift to working Americans. The question is not whether to start one, but where. My IRA is at Minnesota Federal, secure, uncomplicated. It takes the past to anticipate the future, and they've been helping people save for the future for over 100 years. Today, they have unquestioned strengths. My retirement is secure. How about yours? See Minnesota Federal.
You don't have to put up with hotel excuses like the maid, the TV man, or the plumber is gone for the day. Because Holiday Inn gives you this no excuses guarantee. Everything in your room will be right, or we'll make it right. No excuses. Or that night, you stay free. You don't get this guarantee from any other hotel chain. Not one. So, let us take care of you. Holiday Inn gives you a guarantee, not excuses.
I love this magazine. It's Woman's World. Every week, Woman's World gives you more of everything. This week, one fashion story shows bright, breezy new looks for spring. Our recipes this week give you a taste of the tropics. There are makeup ideas and exercises you can do anywhere. Sensational new fashion separates in hot new colors, plus much, much more.
Woman's World. Only 75 cents at checkout counters. Get more of everything every week in Woman's World.
Our co-hosts for the sports segment of tonight's 6 p.m. report are Ralph John Fritz and Pete Redfern. Ralph?
You got it right. Our co-hosts and also the Twins starting pitcher, of course, Dave. And Muriel Humphrey, appropriately so, will be throwing out the first ball in, about an hour or so. Pete Redfern, you getting that nervous twitch at all?
It's starting to come a little bit. I'm just really excited for this game to get going. We've waited for this for a while. I'm really excited about opening up the Dome.
You know, they talk so much about is it or isn't it a hitter's park. How about a pitcher's park?
Well, you know, we had 19 runs scored Sunday afternoon, not one ball left the ballpark, and then scored 5 Saturday night and 2 balls left. So it's just one of those ballparks where it all depends on the elements and who's throwing the ball. I figure if a pitcher's keeping the ball down, he's going to do pretty good. I don't think he's going to give up very many home runs in this park.
Your impressions of the Dome, Pete. You're going against Seattle. You've won 4 in a row against the Mariners.
Well, I'm real excited about this ballpark. It is just beautiful. That's all I can say. I love it here. I'd like to play the rest of my career in this park. As for Seattle, I've had real good success against them. I look forward to going out there tonight, just going right after them, throwing a lot of strikes, and getting the first game in the Dome being a victory.
Okay, now you told me some time ago that the largest crowd that you played against, like in college, you played 52,000 fans or thereabouts. You're playing for Southern Cal against the Dodgers. It has to be quite a thrill playing before 55 or 6,000 here tonight.
Oh, this by far beats the thrill at Southern Cal. I was just a young kid then, and it really pumped me up. But right now, I'm ready for this, and I want to give the fans of Minnesota a good show. And we got a good young ball club. We're going to play good defense, and everybody's really excited about this game.
Okay, Pete, go out and get them tonight.
All right, thank you.
Pete Redfern, the starting pitcher for the Minnesota Twins tonight. Incidentally, there have been a number of cancellations. Today we've been told that the Toronto Blue Jays and the Chicago White Sox will move in here tomorrow in the Dome Stadium sometime tomorrow and play an exhibition game. Of course, the Twins will be here tomorrow night, so it would have to be tomorrow afternoon. The Minneapolis City Clerk's Office informs us shuttle buses will be leaving 1/2 hour earlier than previous games because of tonight's big crowd, meaning 1.5 hours, so they're already on the way. Also, all streets, if you're just on the way, all streets and avenues within a 2-block radius of the Dome Stadium have also been blocked off, so keep that in mind. Well, a total of 11 games were scheduled to be played in the majors today, and I say were scheduled because snow, rain, and cold weather have postponed 6 of them. And the scene at Yankee Stadium in New York, well, here it is. It pretty much tells us the entire story. There's no way anyone can play ball in these conditions. The Tigers, the Brewers, White Sox have postponed their home openers until next week. Those teams also canceled games scheduled for tomorrow and Thursday. Montreal pitcher Charlie Lee summed up the entire situation today. He was asked, how about it? And he said, well, they call us the boys of summer, ? There was no snow on the West Coast, though, today, so it was play ball for the Giants and the Dodgers in Los Angeles this afternoon, and the Los Angeles Dodgers have defeated the San Francisco Giants 4-3. The weather also shut down the Gophers doubleheader with St. Thomas this afternoon at Siebert Field. The Gophers have also scheduled a doubleheader with Augsburg tomorrow. They'll be deciding that game, whether or not they'll play it sometime tomorrow morning. So from the Metrodome, that's it from here, Dave.
All right, Ralph, good luck. We'll be looking for your reports throughout the evening. That's it for tonight's 6 p.m. report.
We'll be back, though, again tonight at 10. We hope you'll join us. And until then, right now, Marlo Bendow and Steve Doyle are at the Dome for a preview of what's coming up tonight on PM Magazine.
That's right, Pat. In the next half hour on PM Magazine, I'll be visiting with Calvin Griffith, the patriarch of the Minnesota Twins.
Also, Lori Fink will be here to highlight some of the wonderful facilities here at the Dome, and also Ahmad Rashad will be here with some talk about Super Turf. Stay with us, won't you?
Change an ordinary room into an extraordinary room with beautiful custom-made window treatments from Minnesota Fabric Shop at Home service. Whether you want the formal elegance of satins and sheers or grandma's ruffles in a warm country look, whether it's the straight, clean lines of vertical blinds or the informal charm of colorful mini blinds. For all your window treatment needs, it's easy. Just call Minnesota Fabrics and shop at home.
Poppin' Fresh brings you the pie sneakers. It seems that no matter how hard people try to keep a Poppin' Fresh pie in their refrigerator overnight, it just has a way of disappearing. Poppin' Fresh restaurants. Never has it been so hard to wait for dessert. We've got 15 kinds of pie for you to take home for Easter. Call and reserve your favorite now.
Madam, we need fuel.
Not here, James. I always buy from an oil company I own.
Don't forget to fill it up at Cenex.
I know, because you always buy from the oil company you own.
When you own part of Cenex, doesn't it make sense to buy from Cenex?
Cenex is the country way, 'cause Cenex is you.
WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul.